Hello, and welcome to Critical ReRoll. My name is Matt, and I'm one of 3 hosts, because we're all hosts forever and ever. Amen. My name is Matt. I'm, first host. Also with me, 2 other people. If you guys want to introduce yourselves.
Go ahead.
Hi. Damn it, I already messed up. I am Dustin, GeoNerd on Twitter.
That's and it? Also with me. Oh, what else you got, Dustin?
What else about you, Dustin? I want to know more about you.
Well, I like long walks on the beach.
Do you actually?
I like walking on beaches. I like walking in woods more, though. I dance on the internet, and I'm really cold, so.
You're in a warm place, but you're really cold. I'm in a cold place, but I'm really warm. I'm Jess. Go_JG on Twitter. Sometimes host, always goof. That's about it. Woohoo! Let's do this.
Let's do this. I have blanked on everything I was going to say. Let's see. So we're Critical ReRoll. It's the Critters podcast by the Critters for the Critters about Critical Role. We talk about that show we all love.
Blue Bloods.
Blue Bloods. Yes, this is our Blue Bloods fan cast. I couldn't think of a name quick enough. Damn it. Anyway, so
we bleed blue.
We bleed.
No.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay.
We'll anyway. Workshop it.
So the last episode left us with a big mystery on ours, and they don't have a name yet. I was about to say Vox Machina. Them's hands, where they're in a carnival, and a little girl was singing, and someone became a zombie, and then all hell broke loose. And then people got arrested. And then this episode picks up right where that left off. So the very first thing is we finally have a name for the watchmaker, Aja Seed. Or watchmaster, not maker. You don't know his hobbies.
True.
Yeah.
Loves making those watches.
I like to do anything that has watch in the title.
Watchmaster. Yeah, master of everything that watches. Or watches everything he masters. That's probably it.
Okay, well.
Yeah, but the adventurers, nameless, are told that they're not allowed to leave, was it Tristanwald?
Yeah, Tristanwald.
Until the investigation is over, and they are, I'm going to say the word exonerated, is that right?
Yeah, when they're sort of cleared of all charges.
Yeah.
Vocabulary.
Good job.
And
that calendar I sent you is working out.
Word a day. Getting smarter.
It's actually March's word. I skipped ahead.
Oh.
But yeah, so we start with Gustav, Bo the Breaker, and Molly Mock in handcuffs. The rest of the group is kind of given the option, hey, you can come with us to the Lawmaster, or just go about your way, just don't leave the city. For whatever reason, Beauregard, Marisha's character, has a history with jails that we haven't gotten into yet. I'm sure it'll come up. And she dips real quick.
She makes the comment that they're not her least favorite terrain, but I mean, really, whose favorite terrain is jails?
True. I don't think anybody's.
Jail masters, there
we go.
Got me there. Jailers.
Yes.
It's a niche market. It's fine.
So yeah, she slips saying that she's gonna go check on the little girl Toya. The rest go with Molly Mock, Gustav, and Bo, who we learned his full name's Bosun. And they head to the Lawmaster. Nott and Caleb kind of hang back and start having the first set of discussions of why they're still with these people. Nott is kind of reminding him that, hey, if we're sticking with these weirdos, they're not going to be looking at us.
Yeah, they're a good distraction. I don't know, these guys are going to get us into trouble. Or Nott points out. They're really good at distracting people while we take things out of their pockets, let's say.
Yeah, they attract attention. Let's just say with the three between Jester and Beauregard, and mostly Jester, I think.
Definitely Jester. She's just chaotic, and then whatever, doesn't matter. She's just chaotic. So yeah, they did. Well, this is where we get the first sense of him doing the thing with the familiar, with Frumpkin, where he swaps senses.
Yes.
Travis blew his mind.
Classic. He's like, classic wizard. I love it.
I've never used a familiar just because I feel like it's too much to
handle.
Like, pay attention to. Yeah.
Well, but I guess it works for Caleb so well because he's already worked it out with Nott to sort of act as his like seeing eye goblin while he can't see, and he was like, just what does he say? It's not till later when he does the same thing and he asks Ford to like punch him if he needs to get him back or something like that. For Nott, who I feel like you should more trust to just punch you, tiny little Nott. He's like, just like tap my hand or something like that, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'll come right back. You sure? I feel like a punch would be real good.
And so what's the thing? Can he change Frumpkin's appearance every time, or would he have to like get rid of Frumpkin and recast it as a regular
I think
spell?
you can pick it whenever you cast it.
Really? Like, does it always have to be the same creature?
No,
like if they need something that flies, he could like ritual cast it again if you wanted to.
Yeah, like most people, for flavor wise, tend to pick like a single one. But I think when you cast the spell, you can pick between like 8 critters. Like one is you can have an octopus. You can have an Abernathy or a GoJG or Pick me though. I'm the best familiar.
What are the things?
I like
bat, cat, crab, frog, hawk, lizard, octopus, owl, poisonous snake, fish.
Like literally, you can become any of them.
Rat,
That's amazing.
raven, seahorse, spider, or weasel. You gain the service from a spirit that takes the form you choose. That's cool.
So wait, would it always still be if you pulled out a different creature, would we still call it Frumpkin?
Probably.
Does he have a different name for every type of creature?
He better now. You cannot have a chili. I'm sorry, it's weird. That's not in the book. Everything else.
It's not in the book. You can't have it.
If I was to have a chili familiar, I'd name it Denison. Really holds up. And that's a joke that 2 people may get.
Mm-hmm. And guess which 2 aren't on the podcast right now?
Yeah, not you 2.
2 that got
it. Nope. Whoosh, right over.
I'll link. I'll see if I can find the commercial and I'll link it to you guys. Anyway,
at some point,
wizards are cool. I just want to point that out. Wizards are cool.
Yeah. So also in this episode, we get more clarification on the double toad, where he is officially described as a large lizard folk who just has bulbous legs. Which may or may not be true. Who knows? But in her attempt to get away from jail time, Beauregard slips away, goes to Toya's tent, which is being guarded by 4 of the Crown's Guard. She has like a great idea, using the horse, hitting a horse with her stick to like get it running and distract the guards. But it only distracts 1. And so she runs in and is caught by the other 3.
I like that she actually had 2 really good stealth rolls before the 4th final bad stealth roll. So she like made it to a point. She's like, smack the horse, successful animal handling check, sneak over, successful stealth, sneak away from the tent, successful stealth, and then like bad stealth. Everyone sees her when she like walks out to talk to Clowry and Toya.
Right.
They're just excuse me.
Yeah, and so she's trying to like tell the girl to run, and instead gets arrested, and then makes it worse by trying to knock out 2 of the guards that have her. And it doesn't go great.
Matt, are you making fun of her spasms?
Not yet.
She's real sensitive about that.
Yeah. So she gets taken to jail. In her attempt to, she got there faster. The other group, which is everyone but Bo, we meet the Lawmaster, whose name I did not write down.
Norda.
I know you guys have it. Yes, Norda.
Yes, Norda.
I can trust you guys.
You're welcome.
Yeah, no, I have it. My note here is Gustav's a pretty cool guy.
So you have.
He's taking the fall for them.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
he like takes the fall for all of them, and Bo's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I got this. Like, it's all on me. They're not even here." And then Molly had already spoken up at that point, so like that Molly had to run a like deception check or something at that point. Like, oh yeah, it's all just him, not part of this.
Right.
But he rolled a nat 20.
The first one. And he's
The
like,
first
it's
one of
about
the
time,
night.
motherfucker.
He's like, "That's right. You better listen up, dice."
But you get where before that, where like Jester kind of plays along with Molly when he's like, exactly what am I being charged for exactly? And then she's like, technically, he was trying to technically help us technically.
Oh, Chester.
Another ceiling of the love that I have for this crazy little tiefling.
It's gonna be so much better moving forward. Just everything's great.
But as
I don't dislike
point,
anything of this.
No, a point I wanted to like, even like Gustav though, like as they were going to the jail, was definitely trying to figure out what happened. Like he made a comment about, are they setting us up for a fall? Like are they? Is this a hit kind of thing? Is like, are they after the circus? He was definitely very concerned about what this whole thing was and why it happened here in Trussenwald.
Yeah, personally, my suspicions on like the Watchmaster and people above him, still because of the comment he made first episode where he's like, "Who else witnessed this? Like, why do you need to know? Like, are you trying to cover your tracks?" And then throughout the episode, there's an ongoing theme of like Molly's like, "No, it wasn't us. Nobody's trying to come after the circus." To like, maybe the entire circus is at risk of being murdered now. So they eventually get Molly let loose. And then while they're leaving, they see their other friend, the loud one, Beauregard, coming in like a wild animal. And she says help about 17 times.
Help.
Which Molly is not helpful at all.
I thought that was interesting. Do you guys like Kate? So Molly and Beau already seem to be becoming frenemies. Does anyone else feel like that is happening?
I don't sense the friend at all. It feels like
just the enemies.
Just the enemy. And it's I feel like they're playing hard because there's a lot of what's the word? Not antithesis, but like opposites. Of the last campaign. So like, you know, Keyleth and Percy had a great relationship.
Yeah,
so
they're best friends.
Maybe they're exploring the other side of what happens if we hate each other.
Yeah. I was wondering that too. I was wondering if like they sort of guessed going in that their characters would like disagree. I'm just curious. Like, obviously, I don't assume that they would metagame or do anything like out of game, but at the same time, it is a fun thing to play on, and it's like
absolutely. And
like their characters are very, very different. So it's interesting to see because that could go either way. Because we've seen the Terry Vex opposites can suddenly become best friends.
Little elf girl. So, oh, you live with me now.
Well, and definitely Molly has been very not defensive, but like deflecting on most anything when it has to deal with him, and he tends to kind of just like slide off. He's not really like doesn't really interact with anyone in sort of like a deep, any meaningful kind of way. He's just sort of like a, you know,
he's like you get surface Molly.
Yeah, you get a show. You get a show with him. He's all like flash and pizzazz.
Which is interesting later on when he's like, okay, I finally take off my performance garb when they're like chilling at the bar. No, so they go down and they have to talk to the guards first to get Beau freed, and that's where she starts lying about having spasms. And that's when Jester does her great line of, "Are you making fun of her spasms?"
Yeah.
I love that Laura just like is so up to lie about everyone, about everything.
Yeah, like really
It's
quick
great.
improving too on Laura's
Laura
part.
as Jester has been so spot on. I think she's the new Percy. Like we had all the one-liners from like Percy. We have so many one-liners from her because like a second before, like when they're like walking into that same, like when they're going down to get Beau, and Matt is describing how the place basically smells like a bathroom. She's like, "Oh no, this place smells like Caleb."
Yeah.
Like,
she's so quick. Like she's our quick-witted, quick with a comment character for sure right now.
Yeah, when they're trying to get Beau freed and she's talking to the Lawmaster and she like Beau holds up her wound so she can see and everyone's like, "Wait, is it infected?" And she's like, "No, the monster definitely attacked with sticks and definitely no sort of mouth." No mouth of any kind.
No type of mouthing.
Oh man.
The zombie used more sticks more than anything.
More than any sort of mouth, yeah. Oh god. I love it. It's my favorite thing to ever happen in Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's very nice. It's very nice dichotomy to have between Vox Machina, who had a lot of more rigidly aligned characters in certain aspects, to have this trash family.
Trash family is so true.
All
I
over the
love
place.
this trash family.
I mean, literally from out of the gate, it's just like trying to put cats in a racing ring. Like you just open the gates and it's just okay. Well, here we go, herding cats.
Yeah,
and I like it.
So good.
It's gonna be so much fun watching it. Like the little things when Taliesin loses his accent, and then Laura loses her accent. Copying Matt's accent.
Yeah. Because Norda had a very thick accent, because she was Dwarven, and she had a very thick Dwarven accent. And then
Can I get away from the Matthew's female Scottish voice?
Yeah, it's like as soon as Laura's immediately like, "Great."
Great, yeah, that's all I'm saying is it's just a great accent to have.
And then to tell, like, "Do you have something to say?" He's like, "No."
I have such a hard time not doing.
Oh man.
They'll adjust their accent to whoever has the most accent nearby. Like the amount of accent at any one time is sort of always like the scale is always tipping for accent.
I will tell you that as like even Jess can attest to this. Oh, you both are playing my game. When I try and do, I always end up kind of start off Scottish. Like Scottish is just a fun accent. Like even when I try to do Umbra's voice, it's definitely to get back into it. It's Scottish is just infectious. And Mercer's Scottish is very infectious.
Mercer, you need to get that infectiousness checked.
Absolutely. Or not. No, let it run rampant.
No, let it run rampant. Yeah, let everyone get a little bit of that infection. That good infection with this trash family. Let's just keep it going.
So once they free Beauregard and make it back to the Nestled Nook Inn, where they're being escorted with guards now watching them because they're not. Those aren't. There's 5. Yes, those 5 aren't allowed to leave the inn now. Nott and Caleb had already gone back to the inn previously. We get one of Talisin's great one-liners when he's thanking him, like, "Thank you for what you did. For the record, I don't know any of you anything."
Yes.
But
I love how quick he is, because he's such a scammer, and he knows like he's ready to scam others, and he's so prepared to not be scammed. He's like, "Thank you very much. But for the record, I don't owe any of you anything." And Porter's like, "Wait, hang on."
Yeah, like, I'm not so sure about that,
man. He was very just like nope.
Ford definitely seemed like he wanted to argue maybe a little bit, but
on the way back, Laura with like "You should have spasmed a few times."
Oh yeah.
You really sell it. We also got the weird lie before that about the little girl, the Toya, being the adopted sister of. I went blank. Beauregard.
Yes.
And how wires got crossed.
Yeah, there was a bit of a
the lie was supposed to
there.
At first, I was interested because she got, like, when she was brought in, she was taken directly to jail, and I was like, well, why didn't she get to talk to the Lawmaster? And then it was immediately, obviously, afterwards because she attacked the guards that brought her in.
Yeah.
Also, it was
the Lawmaster. It was dinner time.
Well, let's remember it was like midnight. Like the Lawmaster was like, I would just like to stop mastering law and retire to whatever it is I do in the evening. Yeah, we'll see how that plays out with them, pushing
making
on
not
Master.
friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to point out, okay, I love that Travis is our charisma character right now. I love that while Travis is being our charisma character, he has a thick Texan accent, so he's like the sweet down-home Southern boy. And I can't help but wonder, do you think he has rustic hospitality?
Oh, is he a folk hero?
No. But I mean, he has such that like that folksy charm. Like, is that going to be his brand of charisma? Because previously the brand of charisma we always saw was Sam's, right? It was Scanlan. It was like sort of a little more snake oil salesman than
like
sweet.
Genuine kindness. I don't know. That's gonna be fun. I don't always like the trope of like having the high charisma person always having to talk. Because I mean that's.
Well, that doesn't stop them.
So. Right.
Well, I mean, like, because Jester doesn't have high charisma. Exactly. She's gonna say what she wants to say, so you've got to. So it's good that they do have at least one, and he's not even like maxed out by any means. He only has an 18, I think. Like, so, but that they have that to fall back on while Jester's just trying to add anything she feels it needs.
Yeah, no, my other note here
conversation
is Jester equals gossip queen. Because as soon as they get back to the inn and she's like, did the smelly ones return yet? I'm going to go ask
Yorda.
Oh, there's so many similar sounding names. Yorda, Norda, Orna. And she gets there like, did you hear what happened? Yes, it's crazy. And that's why we find out that Nott and Caleb are upstairs. So then we shift to them. And they're continuing on the conversation of, do we need to stay here? We can just jump town.
Yeah, there was definitely some hesitance in Caleb to... I think the impetus for that discussion from him was he did get, like, apparently severe... I mean, we don't really know what happened, but Nott hints at it when she mentions that he had to use that healing potion. He definitely... And he slept for, like, 20 hours. He definitely almost became... dead because wizards are squishy even at level 2 and
especially at level 2,
and he did say that Nott saved him. He's like, you saved my life. He literally said those words. So I mean, between all these things
and Caleb, definitely, and all that leads up to Caleb wondering, like, I thought we needed to hang out with some people just like to keep us safer, but I don't know because everything kind of went crazy, and I don't know whether it's like more, he also called these people lunatics. It was a little... I think it's just there was a lot that happened in that few hours that he definitely was not sure of. And I think it kind of changes. I think his mind kind of changes definitely towards the end of the episode. But we get the nice... Nott definitely has a whole different perspective on that. From the way Sam takes it. Especially... which especially I like because like Sam's playing like this goblin who's like, first off, I mean, they all met right in the first episode and no one was like, oh no, a goblin. Like how many times has Nott seen that? So yeah, I liked that interaction.
Yeah, like his one line of like, this is the first time I've been able to talk so openly in years. Like I'm gonna take it. I don't want to leave. Don't you make me leave, Caleb. Yeah, just a lot of weird, or not weird, but like different RPing choices on like stay with the group, leave the group.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting. I thought Liam put a lot of weight onto Sam, as in like he had Caleb be very concerned, like, I really want to leave this group. I really think this is not for us. I thought this was maybe a good idea, but now I think it's a terrible idea. And then so suddenly it was all on Sam to have to like give reasons why. But like Sam is so good, and also I think, like you guys are saying, Nott would have a lot of reasons why she liked this. She like not only do they take the target off of their backs, like not only are this overly loud tiefling and visually loud tiefling good distractions, but like also like you said, how often has she gotten to just be herself around people? Like they don't care that she's a goblin. They don't care. Like it doesn't, like it comes back up and they don't care, right? Like
yeah. I mean, I did like we get to see a little trepidation, but I think the way I read it is that Liam was, as Caleb, was trying to, like, in a weird way, kind of get Nott's perspective on it too. Like, maybe we shouldn't, but like, what do you like? Because Nott did save his life, and so he's kind of given her the opportunity to, I don't think, because he was like, I don't think we need people to, and then he was kind of like, I don't think we need it. I think we'll be fine. And then Nott kind of helped him
see the value
to a point. Yeah. And I think, and then they end up going downstairs, and we get a little better interaction with them, I think, with the rest of them.
Well, real quick, we do have a question in the chat. Thoughts on the theory that Caleb might be a lycanthrope?
That's a theory?
Yeah, I've only seen it once. I haven't delved into that one. Jess, have you seen it a bit?
I've seen a few of it. I've seen a bit of like people just saying it just for fun. Like, wouldn't it be great if one of the other characters is a lycanthrope? Since like currently doesn't seem like Travis went down that route, despite how much he's always loved that. I've seen some people saying it aesthetically they could see it being the case because of some of the mystery involved, the dirty hairy man. Like, a lot of people connect him to like Remus and Harry Potter, that he comes on kind of like that. He has that whole feel to him when he first like shows up and everything like that. The most interesting thing I think that I have down in my notes, because I have a whole chunk, like I have my notes, and then I have one whole chunk that's like starred and squared, and it's on like the Traveler, because that was like one of the only things I actually like researched and was interested on. And one thing I have noted is that the Traveler actually is a patron of changelings, shifters, doppelgangers, and lycanthropes. So should any of them want to become a lycanthrope in the party, they have the Traveler's approval. Like Laura's cleric will be very approving of this, I think. So
a lycanthropic wizard.
Interesting.
My thing is, I want to brush up on Shakespeare, because I wonder if there's some sort of weird Shakespeare-y thing that just because it's Liam. Who knows on what Caleb is really. I mean, it's definitely interesting that I get the very Remus vibe. I can see how people get that. He's got a very sort of Remus-y kind of look about him, act about him.
Right, and that would...
Oh, I see that, and something about translating his name.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what it...
Well, I don't know what Caleb would translate out to, but Widowgast is literally just Widow Ghost, which, like, is the thing that I was already saying to you guys, like, is if he's just gonna be, like, he's gonna pull,
He's been dead the whole time.
Gonna pull a Remus Lupus.
He's actually just a widow's ghost. I don't know.
Cool. I'm gonna pull this one up real quick. Let's see. So Widowgast is an old German for guest of the forest, apparently.
Oh, okay.
But they've been living out in the woods.
And Caleb's a Hebrew name, meaning that it is a Hebrew name, and its meaning is a dog or faithful.
Ah. Like, I feel like everyone has been hiding secrets in their names. Like, personally, like, I feel like that's something I could see them doing, particularly, like, Liam and stuff like that. I've seen a lot of people talk about Mollymock's name and discuss that a little bit, because Mollymock is a kind of albatross, and there's apparently a lot of meanings to that.
Also, there's a movie.
I was going to say, but it's also connected to Talison's grandfather, who is this famous screenwriter, and Mollymock was the name of one of the characters in... I'm not going to remember what the name of the movie now.
For the Love of a Duck.
Oh, yeah, for the Love of a Duck.
Or To Love a Duck, or something like that.
Yeah.
With Roddy McDowall, who I've always liked as an actor. He was in Planet of the Apes.
Yep. But, so yeah, that's from the movie that was done by Talison's grandfather, George Axelrod.
Yep.
Yeah, so Talison's actual legal name includes Axelrod, because he couldn't be any more rock and roll. Let's just add that in there.
And he definitely, Mollymock couldn't be any more Talison.
Reading through the thing that was linked about the theory, I mean, it's a stretch, it looks like to me.
Lord Love a Duck, thank you, Neverwinter.
Lord Love Duck.
Lord Love a Duck.
How dare you? Dustin, you come here and you quote the wrong name.
On this, the day of your podcast?
Yes. So, like, the main things people were focusing on were that Liam describes him as pretty filthy, unshaven, and a bit of a mess. They thought it was weird that he slept for 20 hours. That's a really long time. And we quote that it was a rough day yesterday.
At that point? Sorry.
Oh, that could be a thing, too.
When you slept for 20 hours?
Yeah.
Don't know if I can get on this theory, but I give kudos to everyone else on this theory.
It's interesting. Everybody thinks everyone else is liking through.
That's what the fun about a new campaign is we get to like have all these fun speculations.
My thought I had earlier today is, since we don't know what order of the Blood Hunter that Talison's going, if he does go the one where you get to change any things, will he be a were-peacock and they'll just reskin the were-raven?
Oh gosh!
Please.
That would be fun.
I kind of want that now. Yeah. Oh.
Please.
Like, I literally woke up and, like, in the middle of the night, I was like, wait, what if he's a were-peacock?
I just see Abernathy just like dead asleep and then sits up,
just like pulled upright.
Were-peacock. Were they looking for a specific drink?
Yeah, they were. Well, I don't know if they were talking about a specific drink, but I was wondering that too. Like, the whole time they kept talking about, like, needing drinks. I was like, is it actually just alcohol they're talking about? They need specific things. And he's very specifically looking for certain books. Like, he's very specifically looking for certain information. But meanwhile, he does not seem to want to go to that school, that academy. There is some, like... There's some room for... But, I mean, that's the same sort of room there is for any sort of mystery. Any sort of...
we could...
Like, you could feel like there's huge... plot holes for all of them right now where we don't know much of their backstory, we don't know stuff about them yet, and so like you could feel almost any theory into those holes right now, just like throw it in there and it'll fit right now because the hole is just massive.
Yeah, it's until they start whittling it down into finer details, we're all
it's like find the truth in this haystack of theories.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be researching a cure. That's what I was sort of thinking with the books, but like, or an answer, because it could be relatively new.
That's interesting. There could be something there.
Yeah.
Back to this. We get more of the parallels between old Vox Machina and new No Named with Travis. Like, I'm not really an ale fan. And everyone just starts laughing at him. And then they have like their little backstory circle where they jump back and forth, talk about like what their mothers said things about free things.
Oh yeah.
What were the ones? Never give away a free story.
What did your mother? Yeah. Tell me about your mother, guys.
Yeah. What did your mother say?
Definitely, Jester has definitely seemed to have the most exciting life.
Yeah. She's over there drawing a dick on the table.
Yeah.
She's seen many of.
She's seen many of.
Oh yeah,
I've seen what they look
like. Most of them look like that.
I loved watching Travis's face when she said, because he was like, "What did my wife just say?"
It reminds me of the Deadlands one shot where she's doing her Texas accent, and then she had to draw a card or whatever. She's like, "Give me that dick," and Travis like, "What do you say?" "Give me that dick, Travis." But then we also get Sam's little backstory about why they have to keep moving place to place, and it's because he keeps stealing little baubles and shiny things, and he loves trinkets so much.
Oh, I busted up laughing so hard when he said that.
Man, I wanted to hit him. But from the jumble, they didn't really like stick on one person to explain their story. She, yeah, sorry, it is a she, not. I'm gonna mess up that. Sam.
Yeah, when you're referring to Sam, obviously you refer to male,
right?
Nott is a female, so it's. I know it's a bit of a trick, but I think it's one of the ones we need to like.
We're gonna get it.
Gotta get it.
I'm gonna make like a counter or something in Nightbot and make it teach me better.
Teach me, Nightbot.
Teach me. So let's see. Caleb has been traveling, and they're in the city because they wanted some sort of civilization. We find out that Jester is from somewhere called Nicodranus. Don't have the exact spelling or pronunciation because she's saying it in an accent. Caleb points out that Molly has a lot of scars, and his reply is, "Yeah, it's a funny story. Ford loves funny stories. So does Molly, but none of them go into it." Molly keeps deflecting to the highest extent, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite part about Molly is he'll definitely set something up, and it sounds like it's going to happen, and then he just
and just leave it.
Just walks away.
Yeah, he just
So he's pulling a vax already.
Nott is traveling because she keeps stealing things and getting caught. We learn about her rock collection, her shiny coin collection, and her stick collection.
Because she just loves trinkets.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the GIF out there of someone animated that? It's adorable.
Oh, yes!
On Twitter.
Yes.
Oh, I'm going to have to go find that.
It's so good. It's specifically of all the things that Nott loves.
Oh, is it like a bunch of like
coins and then like an amulet, and then it literally steals a cane from an old man, or she steals a cane from an old man, and the old man falls over. It's
excellent. Yeah, that was the thing. So the sticks turn out to be walking canes, and that's why she gets thrown in jail for it.
I love that she describes them as sticks and rocks, and like Jester has the obvious comment, well, if you're just stealing sticks and rocks, it shouldn't really be a problem. I don't really see oh, well, I guess like you would call them canes. Well, then what are the rocks? You know,
and then everybody stops. And Bo's like, okay, I need clarification. What are your rock collections? Well, you know, those rocks that humans wear on their fingers and around their necks. And then Jester, being up for literally anything, is like, okay, well, steal something from me. Go ahead and do it. And this is where we learn that she is a cleric of the Traveler. She's got a symbol of the Traveler on her waist. And she, at first I thought it was weird because she would always like say something like, oh, he was watching, or I mean, what if he's watching? Or when they're at the carnival and all hell breaks loose, she's like yelling around like, oh, are you watching? This is a lot of fun. I thought that was like a character thing. And then here we found out that her like patron has a active role in screwing with her. So Jess, you looked up the Traveler. You want to let us in?
Oh, sure. Well, specifically, I didn't know anything about the Traveler, but I was hosting the show that night, and several people in my chat were like, "Oh, the Traveler is like a god from like is it Eberron?
Yeah,
Eberron, sort of like world campaign, and they sound like a real fun time. Apparently, the Sovereign of Chaos and Charm. He himself likes to like appear in the physical realm and like but takes various forms, change forms all the time. Has an alias of the Giver of Gifts. He's chaotic neutral, which leaves lots of room for lots of fun. His sort of elements are chaos, deception, evolution, transformation, and trickery. And the Traveler's priests are consummate deceivers, was one note I saw written, which I thought was really interesting because we've seen how Jester can't help but like add to stories or expand them or like just add lies on top of them sometimes, and I feel like that's very fitting, apparently, of her and her god, I guess. Yeah, so I'm excited to see that the fact that her god likes to play an active role, and we in this scene we got to see him trick her, which was really, really excellent.
So two things in chat. Teldore doesn't have, or like the Teldore campaign setting so far doesn't have a like trickster god equivalent. My assumption would be that Matt didn't need one when he wrote the campaign guide. And there's also the whole thing with this side Wildmount and what it's controlled with. They have like a set list of approved deities for public worship or whatever. So it's possible if he is to release another campaign guide, we'll get new reskins of D&D gods with Matt's flair. Like he changed Raven Queen to Matron of Ravens and things.
Rizgofti in the chat brings up that there was a theory on Twitter that the Traveler may be Ardigan, having gained enough power to be like Cash's deity.
Right, and I just saw that as well. Like it makes everyone think that it's not a true Exandrian god, but a powerful person, kind of like Vesh, who's sort of become godlike, which would be extremely interesting.
Yeah, I saw some people before we saw her reveal that her god was the Traveler. Actually, after the first episode, I saw some people being like, wouldn't it be great if her god turned out to be Ardigan? just because of all the chaos and stuff like that. So I saw it before then. I think it's interesting that once it was revealed as the Traveler, that some people were like, well, it could still be art again.
It could still be, like the tenets. So like the tenets of the Traveler from 4th edition, revealing your true self as weakness. Garmelie never showed his true self until he absolutely had to. Nothing is permanent. Ensure that change imposes your lot or improves your lot and damages your enemies.
Also, she draws funny cartoons into a book every night, guys.
Yeah,
and draws the dick everywhere.
And Matt can we see the Traveler, but it could just be Matt could be taking something in his world.
And the third tenet is your best weapons are cunning plans and intricate deceptions, because mortal minds are predictable and easily manipulated. So I really like that idea, and I hope it's true that
they did give him a door, and he could travel around the world in these how many years have been going on. I really like that.
Has it been official? Is it? It is 20 years past the end of Vox
Machina. I
Machina?
don't remember the date of Vox Machina. But...
Exactly. We know when this one started, but I don't remember when.
But I thought a number was said. I thought.
We're in year 835 PD.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember when.
But some people, when they asked for clarification, because he said 300 something, they said, "Don't you mean this?" And I thought he said yes because it was 20 years. I thought there was a bit of a.
It might be actually in the campaign.
I'm sure there's something out there.
True. If you know, tell us.
Well, since you're looking up stuff in the book, I'm going to go ahead and say my other connected theory. Fact that Ford mentioned several times in this episode that he is brand new to his magic. He just got it, and as a warlock, he needs a patron. And he is most connected to Jester, and they seem to have met when she showed up in his town. And I guess maybe something happened there. Maybe something already was happening and they had to deal with it. Or maybe she caused a problem. Or maybe she just swayed him towards her god. Hey, you know who's real cool? This dude, right here. And I would love for it to turn out that his patron is also art again. Can it just be? But then again, he's not very chaotic. But I guess. He's new to his patron. Maybe he doesn't know his patron very well. His patron is a weapon. Okay, so I feel like you guys have said this before. So literally, his sword is his patron.
A hexblade from what I've read is there's they end up being bound to a sentient.
Yeah. So the thing in Hexblade that I read, and it's really weird because I have a friend in my campaign that just switched to Hexblade, and it just says it's somebody who makes a deal with an entity from Shadowfell that takes on the form of a sentient weapon. So I don't know if the Falchion is currently the sentient weapon,
would it have to have been previously already sentient, or would it gain sentience upon making the pact?
I don't know.
It's weird. It's just an entity from the Shadowfell, and then it becomes bound to a weapon or something like that. I'm not sure exactly how it.
It's really weird and not great wording, and the Xanathar's guide about it.
There's some ambiguousness there. There's some room for stuff.
Right.
Either way, the fact that he's talking about how new he is, and they've been together for as long as she showed up at his town. I feel like she was there when he gained his pact.
Right. And if the Falchion is sentient, I feel like he would have put up even more of a struggle giving it to Yasha in the first episode.
Yeah.
He gave it up pretty easily. Especially since you don't have Pact of the Blade thing yet, so you can't just summon it back immediately like you can do later as a warlock.
Yeah, see, that's what I was... I don't know anything about Hexblade. If it's not in the main components, then I probably haven't read it. But I was thinking of there is something you're describing where is that just a level up feature where you can just call your weapon into your hand, it just shows up, you just have your magical weapon. And the only reason I know this is because Jess the Beheader from Taz.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only reason I'm aware of this.
Yep. Sorry, I was reading something. Yeah. So it's. I guess we're just going to have to wait until he has a conversation with whatever the patron is.
With his patron? I feel like he's still feeling it out. I feel like he's so super brand new to his pact. Like, I'm really curious if we'll get to see any of him figuring out his...
Yeah, and he's definitely really excited to feel out his charisma and stuff like that, too, because he's definitely... You can see that he's really excited to feel out this new character.
Yeah. I like the idea that as of, like, just a few weeks ago, he was still just, like, an innocent little farm boy. Like... And then now he's made a pact with some...
Unless he's, like, a half-orc, half-yuan-ti.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably going to be what it is, and either way, I'm going to be happy regardless because it's a lot of fun.
Yep.
I keep pointing my finger at different people in this campaign so far, being like, Yuan-ti, Yuan-ti, Yuan-ti.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's like the Nott.
I love Yuan-ti. I want to see more of them. Yeah, I just love Yuan-ti.
Yeah.
All right. We got off track a little bit.
Yeah, I don't even know where to get back on track. Basically, the rest of this episode is information gathering.
Also, planning that works.
Yeah, they do a lot. Like they've learned a lot about the mechanics of D&D, and they're implementing them. And it's like at first levels, they actually work. My notes basically were that Travis asks really good questions now. Like, you know, hey, we're going to the shipyard. Is there anyone in particular that we might ask about? And he does that multiple times because, like, the first one didn't get any answer, second time didn't get any answer. But, like, that's a good question to ask, and it's, like, relevant. Laura, too, she keeps asking questions and then giving them a place because if they don't have an answer then, and they're like, okay, well, maybe I'll ask around and find out. She's like, oh, you can, you know, give us your answer here where we're staying. Their RP information gathering is really, really good.
Yeah. They're like, they make a comment when they need to sneak out of the inn, how much effort they're having to put into just, they're like, oh my god, for like, you know, at the end of like Vox Machina, they could just like bamf out anywhere. They had no worries at any time. They could do just, they had so many options available to them, and now they actually have to like think and plan, but the plans are going really well, and they're doing a good job of like communicating and figuring stuff out, and like they're following through on everything, and I'm curious if we're gonna get to see this. Like, it's funny that we have this trash family group of excellent planners. Like,
well, and like I just thought about this now. Like, you look at Vox Machina, and they didn't really have a lot of people that were good at disguising and getting out to that. And now, like, almost all of them can have some type of disguise. I mean, they put a lot of work into disguising themselves so they can get out of that. And really, they only really had in the lower levels, they had Scanlan, who was like the main one to help them like seem like something else or something like that. But now they all, I mean, I just liked that they get to play with that disguising and
like actually, like Talison's note, like, oh, it's weird. I actually have things.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, like, yeah, actually, they're actually paying attention to their inventory, like what they have, and it's like the starter items, right? So it's a lot of things that people like new to D&D would like recently have experienced and stuff like that. Things that you would have like paid attention to if you're like, wait, what do I get from my background? Wait, what items do I get?
And that's a fun thing. So like when you take an adventuring kit or whatever, or if you look at the actual things inside, a thieves kit, an artisan's kit, all of that, like actually go through and read what's in those because you can use those everywhere.
There's some great stuff in there.
Like,
I remember
the thieves kit has like the mirror that you can look around an edge.
What?
Or, like,
I didn't know that.
Exactly.
Yeah, they have lots of cool things in the kits.
That's
I played last game that I played. I actually looked. I was given a budget of things that I could buy for this character because I was just joining in, and I just went through and I started reading the description of all these things. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna buy antitoxin. I'm gonna buy 20 pieces of chalk because why not? I'm gonna get 2 iron pots. There's a book for 25 gold. I don't know what it is, but I want it. Like I had this goal in my head of using everything that I bought, and I didn't. But
there's a lot of do we?
That's awesome. Yeah, I know the first character I ever made, which was in a game with you, Matt. I didn't know like about the backgrounds, so I missed out on this whole extra set of stuff. Like, because it was my first character ever, I didn't know what the heck I was doing and stuff like that. And now I like avidly look through the backgrounds, and I'm like, what do I get? What skills do I get and what items do I get from this background.
You go just from having like 3 proficiencies to having 7 and 5 loots for some reason.
Yeah. And that's like I was the exact opposite when I made my first character. I made my bard and I picked entertainer, and I definitely was pushing Becca, my DM, to like, I have that thing. If I play in the inn, we get to stay here for free. Or I'm like, I have a brewer's kit. I'm gonna start brewing things. So like, I was definitely like so micro focused on my inventory. My first couple of games, it was funny. Yeah, it's nice to see like these guys going through the stuff that, I mean, because most of us all started playing I know me and Jess did. We started playing D&D because of Critical Role.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah, I thought you were like a newbie too.
Yeah, I played one time in high school, but that was.
But like, and so like, it's nice to see like them going through the stuff that we were very excited about when we started playing. I think that's what I really like about the start of this new campaign. Not to get off on another tangent, but for like me, who only 2-3 years ago started playing D&D for the first time, like this is exciting to watch them fumble with the character when I had to fumble with my character and figure out, and go to and get to that point where I am now at coming to, like in the next couple of weeks, I'm coming to the end of a campaign that I've been playing in for 2 years. So it's really cool to watch the people that I've idolized and that have made me want to play D&D fumble around struggling with a new character and finding that feel. And then once you find who your character is, it just becomes like a part of you again. And it's nice because we never got to see that in Vox Machina. We fell in love with these characters.
Yeah, we didn't
developed.
They were like level 8 or 9 when they started, so they didn't have to do all this awkward like learning. They didn't have to go through D&D puberty.
Yeah.
Of like, how does my character work?
Yeah.
Reeling us back in.
What? I want to like.
I know.
Go ahead. Reel it in.
I mean, I'm just like looking through the. So other things we learned. The old man that died. His name is Enon, something or other. I just saw his name when I looked away. Enon Brenjay. He was a man in his 80s, so he was healthy, but he was old. I do like that Marisha's kind of keeping on the whole like, why are the elderly banned? But I also like that everyone else is catching on that, like, if somebody's going to use an old person as some sort of experiment, like, this is where to do it. Frame the circus. Let's see, everybody's disguised self-spells. Laura turns into like some random white woman with blonde hair.
I'm so beautiful.
I'm so beautiful right now. Will you be my daughter?
Why? But why would I leave with this stinky man?
I love that. And then Sam's comment, like, it's just, I guess it's just canon now that you just have shit smeared on your face all the time.
Yes, I love that they are all just on him about how like dirty, stinky he is, and like this is not what he intended. I do not think he intended it for it to like get this far, but now that's just his thing. Like Caleb is just Papa Trash. Like he's just like Papa Trash with beautiful monster daughter. Like so cute.
Dirty dad, dirty dad, and monster daughter. It's,
like everyone's commenting on how dirty you are, but I don't smell it.
Yeah.
So sweet.
Man. What else happens? They do. There's a lot of time used information gathering, but they don't really get a lot.
But we get to see them, like you said, like we get to see them actually working stuff out and like doing a good job. We got to see like Caleb talking to that bartender who is very into those books.
The trashy novels.
And there seemed to be a thing there, and I want to find out. I saw some theories that some people were like, wouldn't it be great if it turned out that like Caleb was actually secretly the writer, or like a trashy fiction writer or something like that. Like that's part of his like backstory history.
Like what is the language they keep pointing out? That
Semian, I think, is something like that. Semian or something. I think it's like the D&D version of German is what it.
Yeah, it's definitely German.
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot of that everywhere. Interesting.
Yeah, like through the whole course, just if we just want to kind of glaze over their investigations.
Yeah.
I mean, they definitely get a really good. I mean, they kind of get an idea of who this old man was. They meet up with a character, the dad character from the one shot that happened before. We also get a sense when they're dealing with the guards and things like that this is definitely law here might not be all that lawful or justice or just
the guards are weird.
Yeah, it's definitely hey, if you could find someone to pin it on, let's pin it on somebody.
Yeah, let's just kill the Gustav guy and get this over with.
Yeah.
There's a lot of going back to the lake. Towards the end, it's Marisha. It's after the campaign where Marisha's like, has anybody else noticed that when the transformation happens to people, they shed their skin like a snake, and we had to fight a snake, and there's like a lake, and there's snakes out that live in the lake.
Yeah, it keeps coming back to snakes because they went and spoke to Reynald, who they fought the giant snake for, like you were saying, and they were skinning it, and for half a second, like Ford seemed a little bit concerned, like he was like. I was wondering.
About to mention, that's one thing that I didn't do. I want to go back and now watch anytime there's a mention of a snake and look at Travis's face if he is a Yuan-Ti.
Yeah, because he has those snake eyes and he's missing his tusks. So
he's got claws.
And he's got a very interesting color palette for an orc, which I love.
And he's very
snake-like
slim.
because it's like, yes. Oh man.
He's very slim. He has a lot of things that make it sort of questionable.
Yeah. I just love the idea of having like all these half races that aren't just
yes,
because everyone defaults to it's a half human and a half of this, but like
it could be half whatever you want, a half halfling and a half orc, tiny goblin.
Yeah, exactly. What if it's like half orc, half Yuan-Ti? Like, ooh, exciting cross. And like that's why I was so on top of that's when we were talking in the first episode about like how I really wanted the circus to be like this interesting like mix of people, like because I know that we kept saying like, oh, the Nott sisters are halflings, but they were so described as like snake people like so many times, and like there's just other like the were-toad. Why am I not remembering?
Devil toad,
Clowry, the devil toad, Clowry. Like they kept being like looks like this, but kind of like this, but like really too big to be that. Like
speaking of. So after they do all the information gathering in the city and around it, they decide to go back to the circus, and that's where we kind of learn more about those fun people. There's a bit of a scuff.
The plot definitely kicks up the gear.
There's like some scuffles along the way with them getting caught by guards and having to use deception tactics. Both Ford and Caleb turn into Crown's Guard, and then Nott attacks Caleb because they've practiced that a couple times. But then they finally get there. Molly Mock takes them to the Nott sisters' cabin first, right? Nott and Orna's.
No, what was that one guy first, right? I forget
Desmond,
his name.
yes.
Desmond, yeah.
So they go to Desmond, and we see Desmond during the performance is kind of like well dressed and in makeup, and is kind of like carrying himself. And then outside of this, he's kind of soft spoken. We learn that he's
big scar on his face,
huge scar on his face that he keeps covered up during his performances. And then do they split up now, or they split up when they leave? Because
they split up after Desmond, don't they?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because Nott and
Jester, she casts Detect Good and Evil. So it's now it's Caleb and Ford distracting guards at the front, and then they go into the main tent, and then it is Molly Mock and Bo. I'm afraid no, it's just 6 of them. They go to Orna and the Nott sisters, and then Jester and Nott. God, why are there so many Notts?
Because you can't untangle them all.
Ha ha ha! They use Detect Good and Evil and sneak around. And that is where a fiend is detected. So they like, oh, we've cracked the case. First time they do that. So they go into the tent. They see the Devil Toad. And they kind of talk to Toya, where we learn from Toya a little bit about Molly Mock. And Dustin, you wanted to talk about that.
Yeah.
It's literally the only note that I have that I wrote down right here on this lovely little post-it note from Lemmy.
Lemmy notes.
So they're talking to Yorna. Not Yorna.
Toya.
God.
Toya.
Oh man, there's so many us.
Mm-hmm.
Toya. And I was very excited about this because we definitely get a little bit of Molly backstory from the DM through this character. And you could see on Talison's face that he's like, oh man, now they know like something about me, because Toya talks about how she was here before Molly and Yasha came in. Like Molly and Yasha have only been with her for like 2 years. They're like the newest members.
Yasha even less. Molly was 2 years, and then Yasha only like 1 year or something like that.
Yeah, and so Kaori and Toya. I don't know why I'm having trouble with that name. Have been there for a while. Like all of these people in the circus have been there for a long time. And she talks about how when Molly came, he didn't speak, and like it passed over my first watch. That I didn't catch that until my second watch, and I'm like, wait, what? Like I thought it was like a figure of speech, but then I realized she was talking about how he didn't talk for a while when he first came, and we kind of found our voice together, and it was like really like a very like meaningful kind of little secret that we learned about Molly, and you could definitely tell that Taliesin was like just as himself at the table was like, there's a thing that
he mouths the word fuck under his breath. It's 3 minutes 54 seconds, I think it was. If you watch the Twitch VOD,
it was 54 minutes.
Where he's like, he didn't talk when he found her voice, and Talison's like, fuck. That's I need to know. I need to know more. Do you have any thoughts on what would cause him not to talk before then?
No, but I wonder, like, I want to, because, he's a tiefling, one. They normally don't have fun backstories. I mean, just as part of their blood. I mean, their bloodline usually ends up having something. And he chose to be a blood hunter, and he's already covered in lots of scars. So, like, what brought him to the circus? Like, a lot of people that go to circuses are outcasts. They don't fit in, and a circus is kind of a family for these kind of people who either have nowhere to go or are running away from something or something like that. And a lot of the times, someone who has a flamboyant, crazy kind of like outward appearance is really
distracting from.
Well, yeah, and we all know Molly's a very deflective person to begin with, so he's definitely. Maybe, I don't know, this is the kind of character I would create, because like my dwarf is a very outwardly going, kind of thing, and he has a lot of crap going on in his. So maybe, Molly has a lot of shit that went down, and he puts on this front to keep, things from coming again. I'm really interested in Molly Mock as a character, especially now we get this little tidbit.
And I fear that none of them caught on to that part. Because watching them, none of them really reacted to that. But I hope they I don't know if they rewatch it, but if they see it, I want them to kind of, not pressure them, but bring it up next time.
Matt, go tweet at them. Matt, go tweet it.
I'll DM
Laura specifically, because it was Laura and Sam that heard the information, so it has to be one of the two of them. To do something about it, and I could see Jester just innocently saying it, but causing shit. You know what I mean? Like saying it in the most shit disturbingest way, but sweetly. I'm curious. Hang on, you guys both got to talk about this. I want to talk about it. Because obviously you said tieflings often have dark backstories. To become a blood hunter, that's a dark transition. To do that. So there's something there already. What I'm wondering is, he told us a little bit of the story about his swords, and he was talking about how his mom said this, therefore he always does this. So inciting that it was almost in his nature to always do this, and the sword was given to him. So almost this path was chosen for him. But I can't help but wonder, with what we've seen of Molly Mock and with his type of character, if he isn't the type of character to just lie about everything, and that story is a complete fabrication, and it's hiding the actual story. I think it could go one of two ways. I think it's either extremely true, and he is misguiding them by telling them one true thing, or it's a complete fabrication.
Well, Travis did get to roll on the insight check.
And it was a complete fabrication.
He said, "I'm lying like a motherfucker."
Yeah.
Were Talison's exact words.
Yeah. So
I feel like there's truth in it.
That's the thing. I feel like there's an element of truth in it somewhere, but that it's mostly
I think maybe
false.
he definitely came from maybe a line of blood hunters. I'm interested in how much combat he got into because his art is just covered in scars.
Covered in scars. That's a lot of activating his right.
It's blood hunters are so much fun.
So maybe he was doing it for a long time and then got to the circus to get away from it.
Oh, this is ripe with
there's so many
conspiracy theories.
It's like we said with the other thing, there's such a big hole right now, you could craft just about anything and throw it in that hole and it'll fit right now.
I just wish this was a cork board and I had red yarn.
I'm gonna have to make one of those just as a prop.
That would be great.
Let's see, what else do we learn?
I'll come over to your house so we can build a corkboard conspiracy board.
Absolutely. We learn that the song she sang, I like that Matt, I don't know if he came with it on the spot or had it already planned out, but it was an old dwarven song about the angels granting sparks of life to people, which is kind of somewhat goes along with what happened because it sparked some sort of life in that old person to turn him into a zombie. He
mentioned that there a chorus erupted that no one else could see, but everyone could hear.
Exactly.
What is this little girl doing with a fiend that we now know is a fiend?
Or something else was there singing the inverse of the song and actually
maybe it was a ritual.
On? But, because all Matt said is it sounded vaguely religious, which could go, good religion, bad religion.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know.
But so they didn't say she didn't come to the circus with Clowery. They met at the circus. So there's an opportunity here for it to be an actual, honest, accidental, both of them stumbling upon something together, or activating something accidentally.
True.
There is room for that right now.
Well, and then we through that conversation, Jester and Nott hear Toya say that, Orna and Gustav fight a lot. So that's when, it must have been Orna.
Just run off that's it, we've solved it.
Blank, we've solved the case. And they just
don't even wait. Do you think Matt was going to give them something more?
Oh, absolutely. And you can see Laura was kind of damn it, Sam, we could have gotten more. But let's go. This is more fun.
It's way more their characters.
Exactly.
Not a Jester Detective Agency. Please sign me up.
Yep.
I want to be part of that. Let's see. So they run back, and then we don't really get any new information from the Nott sisters and Orna that Molly Bach and Bo were talking about. What is really interesting is when Nott and Jester barge in and hold up their guns, kind of like The Office. Orna kind of goes through, is okay, let's talk this out. So Gustav is an idiot, but he's not a murderer. Bozan is a bit of a dick, but he's a stand-up fellow. Toya, something I couldn't understand. She couldn't hurt a fly. Mira and Yuli, they are a word that I'm not going to say, but they're not going to kill anyone. Desmond is a weird fellow. There's something dark in his past. You can see it in his melancholy. So that put my suspicion on him, which if Orna's the main bad guy, it worked because I'm not suspicious with her anymore. And then it really got interesting when she says there's something untrustworthy, or there's some untrustworthy intelligence in the eyes of that devil toad. Now we know that he was supposed to be some sort of lizard folk, and that's when Jester shyly was just he's got some evil coming out of him. I'm what? He's just a lizard folk. He's no, he's a fiend.
Yeah, he's a fiend, right? And they were he's.
So everybody looks at each other in silence.
Lizard folk.
That was when the dun 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 should have played.
Yeah.
And then it just
close ups on everybody's faces. Yeah.
Yeah, like a Yu-Gi-Oh split screen. Somebody just played a trap card and it cuts on all of their faces.
What?
I just made that reference. I'm so embarrassed. But then it cuts to Caleb and Ford, unassuming, in the main tent, and Caleb does the thing with Frumpkin, and Frumpkin sees both guards, one at a time, stand up, grip themselves, fall over dead, stand up, shrivel up, fall over dead, and then a large, lumbering, toad-like beast with piercing red eyes, and he bounds off towards the north, and then he cut it. Do y'all think it's
as those
cloury?
things started sloughing off their skin and becoming? Well, he never described it as like he said. You see a shadowy figure with glowing red eyes, and then it leaps off like a frog.
Exactly. So I mean,
you said something about Desmond, and I'm like, what if this is like a case of like a cup game, a shell game sort of thing, where it's like, because Desmond was there.
Desmond was playing some sort of enchanted instrument that could play itself while he was pulling in the devil toad, and he when he goes into the crowd, he describes somebody looking at him like he was odd that he was doing that. So maybe he was like trying to find an old person to do whatever mumbo jumbo.
I mean, it could be cowrie, but like the way Matt described it, he left it ambiguous.
Yeah, he left it ambiguous, but like gave him the red herring to chase.
Yeah, for sure. And then we also get this mention that now that they're seeing the transformation to these zombie creatures close up, you see sand and stuff coming off of them as they're coming out of that. Like he describes it as it's like a sand. Like before, you thought maybe it was just dirt from the dead body and the corpse, but you definitely see like this sand type of material coming out in between the sloughing off of flesh. And I'm like, that's a very interesting description because it gave me like mummy kind of vibes. A little bit kind of thing.
Yeah, but it's like nothing that I've seen in the DM's guide or the monster manuals that I've looked at.
Like this is Matthew Mercer we're talking about.
Yeah, like nothing that I've seen can cause that transformation without some sort of physical interaction. And these are all happening. Why? Like I keep trying to think. Like, was there any special?
So there's some sort of spell or something like that.
Was Matt describing them eating something or drinking something right before the transformation?
No,
that nobody was. No one was singing when the second one happened.
Yeah, but there is the similarity where that old man clutched at his chest.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's why a lot of people thought it was a slot. I thought it was a slot at the beginning, that the Death Toad was a slot. But with the confirmation that he's a fiend, Death Slaughter aberrations in 5th edition. I did see when I rewatched it. I made the mistake of looking at Twitch chat. But somebody had mentioned that a Hezro demon could have been something. If you look at it, it resembles a toad. It doesn't have any sort of like transformation thing if it looks at you, but it's a fiend. It's a toad fiend. I don't know if you guys have found anything else on what it could possibly be.
No, I am under the suspicion that there is a larger thing controlling.
Did you just see the sandwiches?
Yeah, I just saw someone in chat said "Curse of the Sandwiches" and then died. I tried to like cover up. Obviously, you heard me snort.
That's a really good story. That the Curse of the Sandwiches. I read that book. The hero's name is Reuben.
Okay. Wow.
Guys, we're in a bit of a pickle. Let's get out. Let's stop this.
Okay.
I'm a pickle.
Something peanuts, butters, some jelly.
It's a small club. It's fine.
Oh,
club.
God.
I'm wondering. What I'm wondering is.
I'm just mad because I can't think of anything. It's making me sound.
Bring it back.
Shut up, Dan.
Oh no! What did Dan say? Please end this podcast. Just leave. Get out of here, Dan.
For those of you who are listening to this in podcast form, we stream it live on Twitch and interact with the chat and our friends.
Yeah, so if you want to also be making us laugh and yelling at us to shut up and to end the podcast, if you're our DM, literally all three of our DM. We should probably not be mean to him because next week he'll probably be mean to us.
Oh man!
But yeah, like my theory, like there might be something bigger at the head of this.
Yes,
it's kind of a Mercer kind of thing too.
I mean,
but there's definitely nothing in this town is what it appears to be, and there's definitely some fun, shady shit going on, and I love it. And
I'm excited. Like this kind of feels like what I envision in my head to be the start of just a normal Dungeons and Dragons campaign. Like you start out in a tavern, and you're in a town, and you solve a mystery.
You know what we should be doing is we should be scavenging like Witchers kind of stuff too, because we know Matt's been pulling a lot of Witcher stuff into this Wildmount area, and maybe there's something there. I haven't played any of them. I mean, I played a little bit, but I don't know. I'm really enjoying the way this first 2 episodes have gone.
Yeah. I love that we got a circus and a murder mystery. Like, I love that we got this whole, like, this
murder mystery.
so
please.
excellent. But here's what I was thinking. Like, part of me was like, okay, they're only level 2. They're starting a new campaign. These are new characters. Could Matt be taking it easy on them? And it is as simple as, like, the guy that looks like the bad guy is the bad guy. Like, the guy that, like, I physically described killing these guys and who, like sort of relates in terms of amphibiousness is the bad guy. I was like, could he be? But then I just always jump back to, no, it's Matt Mercer. It can't possibly be that simple. It can't possibly not be some way more interesting, way more strings attached, way more convoluted thing where I can't help but personally get away from the thought that it has something to do with the Kingsguard. Like, I can't get away from assuming that.
That's where it's interesting, because Orna was talking about, like, if she were in charge, things would go differently. Like, they'd have a better relationship with the Kingsguard, because during the confrontation, they were useless. If you go back and watch it, there's, like, no Kingsguard anywhere to be found. They all, like, left immediately when the thing started happening. But then at the end, like, are they just a super chaotic evil group where they're okay sacrificing the low people? And it feels like they are being framed right at the end, because Travis caught onto it, like, we're not supposed to be here, and, like, they're now zombies there, and so they're gonna have to fight them.
Yeah, they're definitely gonna know that they weren't in the tavern anymore, unless they can keep it quiet.
I do also love that Laura was like, well, at least the charmed person that I did can't tell anybody that I did it to him. Silver lining.
Silver lining.
I don't know. It's going to be fun when we get to, like, the big Scooby-Doo reveal where they have some sort of put together costume of a devil toad, and they're like, it was really Old Man Jenkins.
And I would have got away with it too if it wasn't for you trash family.
And your nasty goblin daughter.
Okay, we have to, that's the great, that's an end. That's
all right. Cool. Well, we're gonna wrap up this episode of Critical Reroll. You're welcome, Dan. We're quitting forever.
There you go, Dan. Just
until
for
next
you.
week. I was one of your hosts. My name is Matt Abernethy. You can find me on Twitter at Matt Abernethy.
I'm Jess. You can find me at go_JG.
And the best for last, it's me, Dustin, a magical narwhal. You can find me at GeoNerd on Twitter.
Let us know how we did. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, you can tweet at us individually and be mean, or tweet to the podcast. We have at Critical Reroll on Twitter. We have Critical Reroll Gmail, or at gmail.com if you want to, like, send anything longer. Other than that, thank you all for watching and listening.
Yeah, make sure you can find us as a podcast. You can find us as a live Twitch show, and soon we'll be on YouTube, the YouTubes, all the places.
Everywhere.
We're just infiltrating everything now.
We're taking it over. Sort of like a devil toad turning people into snakes.
Yep.
All right. Everybody say bye.
Bye.
Bye. Auf Wiedersehen. Bis später.
Bis später. Bum, 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 bum. I don't know where it's at in the song, but I'm going to mute me so you can listen to it.
This is the time when we dance.